Good morning. I hope that each of you are well and it is well with your families. I just want to take 10 minutes of your time this morning and just share with you a parable that has been burning in my spirit probably for half this week. And it's a parable of the prodigal son. And I won't read the entire account, but the story is found in Luke chapter 15, from verse 11 to 32. And I'm going to put the verses up with the video so that you can read them yourself. But just to give you a background of this story, it's a story of two sons. And the younger son said one day, "Dad, I want to leave. Give me everything that is rightfully mine. And I want to go. I am tired of basically being in this house. I'm tired of being under your rules. I want to go live my own life." And the father gave him what was his. And this son left and he went to a far country. And in this far country, he basically lived it up. He wasted his money on probably booze, maybe drugs, maybe women, maybe partying. He just wasted it, the Bible says, on riotous living. So this guy just lived it up until the point came that he had nothing left. And a man in that far country said, listen, I'll give you a job. You can feed my pigs. You can feed my swine. And for a Jewish teenager, there couldn't have been any lower job than that. And so I don't know where the riotous living has taken you, but it's probably brought you to a point where you're at a low point. And this son came to himself. And I'm going to read verse 17 of Luke 15:17. But when he came to himself, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants." So I'm going to try to highlight three things in these 10 minutes. And the first thing is that you're never too far gone that you cannot come to yourselves. As long as there is breath in your lungs, you can come to yourself. I hope today that you kind of realize that the situation that you're in is not the situation that you are meant to be in. I hope you come to realize today that the far country that you are partying in and that you have lost everything is not where you're meant to be. That today that you have the ability, once there is life in your breath, to come to yourself and say, "My Father, servants live better than I do. My Father still loves me. I am going to leave where I am, that I have a home to go to." So the first thing is that he understood where he was and decided to return back to his father. And his thought was that, I'm going to return back and I'm going to return as a servant. I am not worthy to be his son anymore. Why would he want me? Why would he even welcome me back? And the next verse I want to read is verse 20. And he arose and came to his father, but when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. So the next thing that I want us to kind of realize this morning is that the Father is looking out for you. The Father is looking for his children to return to him. The Father has demonstrated here his undying and his unequivocal love for his Son. The Bible tells us that God so loved us that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. The Bible tells us, what can separate us from the love of God? The Bible also says that if I am in his hands, there is nothing that can pluck me from his hands. That once I am his, I am his. So the second thing I want you to realize this morning is that the Father loves you. And that he is looking for his children to return to him. You are never too far. You have never done too much. You have never fallen too low. That the Father's love can't reach you. There are some prodigal sons and daughters listening to this message this morning. And you're saying to yourself, I can't go back. I've done, Sean, you don't know what I've done. Sean, you don't know where I've been. And I want to say this morning that I may not know where you've been, but I know where I've been. And I was able to return back to my Father, and he had his arms open wide. The next thing that I want us to see is in verse 22. But the Father said to his servants, bring out the best robes and put it on him, and put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet, and bring the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be married. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. The last thing that I want to touch on this morning is that there are no second-class sons. I have 4 children, and each of them are entitled to me equally. Each of them can claim me as their father, and none of them can claim me more than another. And this father wanted to reestablish in his son his position. And so what he did is he put a robe on him. He says, listen, I want you to understand that I'm going to clothe you in my goodness and my righteousness. That no one can tell you that you don't belong to me. This robe, my righteousness, demonstrates that you are now clothed in my goodness. He put a ring on his finger, and the ring stands of authority. He means that you can represent me now because you have come home. He put his sandals on his feet, and he said, listen, you have the ability to walk as a son. And I say this morning, prodigals, those that have failed and have returned, don't let anyone put you down. Don't let anyone make you feel that you are less than what you are, that you are a child of the King. This father says, you can't be a servant because you're my son. And I say this morning, no matter where you are, no matter what you've done, if you're a prodigal that's still far away, you can return. Know that the Father loves you. Know that the Father cares for you. If you're a prodigal that has returned home, understand your position in him. You're a son. You are his son. And he loves you. I hope that this word today just kind of blesses your heart, knowing that you are loved and that you are a son of his. And nothing can ever change that.